Ben, you are always, as a 300-time champion at Forged in Fire, you're always making really great swords. How do you manage, and if you look at the George Washington sword, how do you figure out where the balance is going to be? How do you manage to get the balance where you want it to be?
Yeah, realistically, it's a matter of taking the weight out of where you really don't need it. Like the last couple of inches of sword really are not the strength zone. That's more of the thin cutting zone, and just having the bravery to take the metal out of that, last 4 or 5 inches, is where you really can shift the balance way towards the pommel, and take ounces completely off the whole thing and together.
So some of the swords have a fuller and some of them don't. Is a fuller
Mhm.
really just a weight reduction item because it really, it's going to be a little bit stronger without a fuller on the one hand. On the other hand, it's going to be about as stiff because you still got from an engineering term, the geometric modulus is about the same when you got that sort of fuller shape instead of just a solid one.
Yeah, people misname it. They say that if you put a fuller in, it strengthens your blade. It doesn't strengthen it, like you're saying. It does reduce its stiffness by a little bit, but or ounce per ounce, you have a stronger blade than if you had taken that same amount of steel and made it thinner.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get an I-beam kind of effect,
Yeah.
which is just a modulus. As long as you got the mass far away from the center, that's going to
Yeah.
give you a stiffer blade.
So you'll find on some of the swords you pick up that you're like, wow, this feels really good. Look at the spine, and there's going to be a pretty good distal taper going from
Mhm.
the handle all the way out to the tip, or at very least, just the last good couple inches are going to be aggressively tapered. And then
Yeah.
then where and how deep and how wide that fuller is also makes a huge difference to the weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And on that note, when you look at the at least the two cuttos that Washington's famous for, they have fullers that run to within about 2 inches of the tip, and there's a secondary fuller above that. So they're doing everything they can to take that weight out. Now, I don't have very good images of the width of the spine. I've seen what is the official recreation of the sword,
Yep.
which to me looks a little bit on the heavy side. I think they've manufactured it to be a little bit more robust than it
Sure.
actually
Sure.
was originally. Um, but by taking more of that weight out, I mean, the spine of the blade, from what I'm looking at, has a bit of a taper to it. It's not just a distal taper, but you've got an edge geometry here, and then you've got the spine that actually tapers towards the
Okay.
or from the fuller to the spine itself, where you're again removing metal.
So
Cuttos technically are very light cutting swords.